Police in Phoenix are investigating this break-in at Katie Hobbs' campaign office this week. This is coming amid reports of voter intimidation in Arizona.
She was quick to point a finger at Hobbs' Trump-backed Republican opponent, Kari Lake, whom they blame for spreading dangerous misinformation. And here is how Lake responded.
I'm saddened that Hobbs and her camp would try to pin this on us. It's defamatory and it's wrong. That is absolutely absurd. And are you guys buying that? Are you really buying that? This just sounds like a Jussie Smollett part 2. I can't believe that she would blame my amazing people, blame me for something like that. I don't even know where her campaign office is. I'm assuming it's in a basement somewhere because that's where she's been campaigning.
There's Kari Lake responding to her opponent, Katie Hobbs' campaign office being broken into as they're battling in this close race for the governorship out in Arizona. As you saw there, Kari Lake is being very defensive about some of the narratives and some of the words being said about why this happened. But apparently it's a Jussie Smollett situation. Don't forget that part, and also that apparently she's campaigning out of a basement. Is this a speech, or is this you trying to talk about what's going on in this very serious situation? I would assume. Here's more, because again, it was a Jussie Smollett situation. Here's the burglar. Here's images from security cameras inside the office. Rocking them shorts and a backpack, strolling through just casually. There's a few other images from it that they did post. But police responded to this commercial burglary call at the office in Midtown Phoenix on Tuesday afternoon. Information was learned that items were taken from the property sometime during the night. So the police said. No suspects have been identified. This is still an active investigation with detectives checking all security cameras in attempts to identify and locate the subject involved. They're moving on it. So despite that whole picture of the suspect, they have not identified them yet though, as they're looking for. Maybe Kari Lake will come out clean at the end of this. Maybe this is a campaign staffer that just stumbled in the middle of the night because he was tired. The campaign released photographs of a person it said was identified as the suspect by the Phoenix Police Department after police reviewed this surveillance footage. The images show that younger man wearing shorts and that backpack. The Phoenix Police Department said it has not yet released any images or video relating to this investigation and cannot confirm any suspects or investigative leads. Now, this is where Kari Lake was upset because there was a statement put out by Katie Hobbs' campaign manager that said some of this in part. We may not have this as a graphic, so I saw this at the beginning of her entire statement. This is what angered Kari Lake. She goes, let's be clear. This is Hobbs' campaign manager. Let's be clear. For nearly 2 years, Kari Lake and her allies have been spreading dangerous misinformation and inciting threats against anyone they see fit. The threats against Arizonans attempting to exercise their constitutional rights and their attacks on elected officials are the direct result of a concerted campaign of lies and intimidation. That's the line that Lake is so upset about because you're blaming this on me. Are you inciting your folks to think rabidly about these things? What she said was they've been spreading dangerous misinformation and inciting threats. They've been receiving threats. As you've been talking about a stolen election, and of course, as Hobbs being the head of Secretary of State, I believe, in the state, she's responsible for it. That's the misinformation part. There was more that she said though. Secretary Hobbs and her staff have faced hundreds of death threats and threats of violence over the course of this campaign. Throughout this race, we have been clear that the safety of our staff and the secretary is our #1 priority. What's your thoughts here, man? Well, first off, is it a Jussie Smollett situation?
Well, I was just laughing because there was so much sarcasm in her voice. You know what I mean? Like they just hinted at it. She knows what she's doing in terms of the messages that they spread. Because
exactly.
The Republican platform, it's not just that they say like we're against democratic policies, but they have a propaganda such that the loons who believe in it feel like they're patriots if they stick it to the Democrats. You got to think a lot of the people, not most of the people who ran up in the Capitol on January 6th felt that they were doing that for some type of a grand cause. They didn't feel like they were breaking the law. I mean, who would do that if they didn't feel like it was really worth it? So obviously we've seen the results of Republican rhetoric. But again, unless it was a crackhead or something, then that was probably some Republican loon breaking into her building because that person didn't look like a crackhead to me. They look like they work a regular job. They had on those nice shorts. I have a pair of shorts like that. Those are some nice shorts, man. Yeah, the shorts.
They blend in well. It's nice and gray. It's a base color. If you wear orange shorts, people are like that guy was wearing orange shorts. You can't miss him.
Yeah, but then you see, look at that. Yeah, no, that's definitely not a crackhead. He's too well kept, and he has too much weight on him. So,
way too much. So okay. So this is the other part about this. There's a way that Kari Lake could have responded without it seeming like a complete a-hole. You can say, we don't have any of this information yet. Any of these threats that are coming for you had nothing to do with what I'm it's very simple to still be a bad person, which she is, and then still act like you have some level of compassion for this potential break-in that happened. Because there have been threats. Has she not been receiving threats? Have people not been saying they're angry and they think that she was part of taking away Donald Trump's victory? Yes, it's happened. You can acknowledge that and say, I have nothing to do with that. But she doesn't want to detach from that because those are her people. If you detach from the bad folks, you lose support. We've seen that happen, even with Donald Trump, because he mentioned the vaccine being something decent for a second. There was a decent number of people who said he's turning on us. Yeah, it's crazy. They have to be careful not to alienate themselves from the worst people in the country. Their supporters, at least the rabid ones, the ones who want to kill. It can't be too general, I suppose.